When Michael wondered why his wife Sarah kept claiming she needed to work overtime, he was stunned by the GPS coordinates he received. Every night Sarah said she was working late, she was actually at her boss Richard's house. 2 years later, when Richard claimed in court that my firing wasn't personal, Michael's smile would say everything. Michael Davis, 34 years old, was an experienced project manager living in Phoenix, Arizona. He had been working at TechFlow Solutions for 6 years, managing software implementation projects. He was reliable, hardworking, a team player, a model employee. Sarah Davis, Michael's wife of 7 years, was 31 years old and worked as a marketing coordinator. She worked at the same company, but in a different department. Michael was in IT, Sarah was on the marketing team. Company policy allowed couples to work there as long as there was no conflict of interest. Richard Morrison, 42 years old, was VP of Operations at TechFlow Solutions. Divorced, with expensive tastes, he was the company's rising star. Charismatic, ambitious, and, according to rumors, he had inappropriate relationships with employees. Michael and Sarah's marriage appeared stable. Suburban house, 2 cars, planning for kids. But over the last 8 months, things had changed. Sarah started working late frequently. Weekend projects increased, business trips became more common. "Sorry, honey, Richard needs me to finish this quarterly report," Sarah would say, grabbing her purse at 7 p.m. "Probably won't be home until midnight." Michael was understanding. The corporate world was demanding, especially the marketing department during campaign seasons. He trusted Sarah completely.
But patterns started bothering him. Sarah's overtime always involved Richard's projects. Her business trips coincided with Richard's travel schedule. And lately, she seemed distant, distracted, less interested in Michael's day or their shared activities. Michael's suspicions were initially mixed with guilt. Was he being paranoid, controlling? Sarah had always been dedicated to her career. Then came the Friday evening that changed everything. Sarah, as usual, announced she had to work late. "Richard's presenting to the board Monday. I need to finalize the presentation materials." "Again?" Michael asked. "This is the 4th Friday in a row." "Michael, please don't start. You know how important this quarter is for my career." "I'm not starting anything. I'm just concerned about your work-life balance." Sarah's tone sharpened. "Maybe if you were more ambitious about your own career, you'd understand the dedication required." That stung. Michael had always been career-focused, but not at the expense of their marriage. After Sarah left, Michael sat alone watching Netflix, but couldn't focus. Something felt wrong. Marriage instincts, maybe, or just accumulated doubts. On impulse, he decided to surprise Sarah with dinner. Thai food from her favorite restaurant. Maybe she'd appreciate the gesture during her stressful project. Michael drove to TechFlow's downtown office building. Sarah's car wasn't in the parking garage. Neither was Richard's BMW. Confused, Michael called Sarah. Voicemail. Text. "Working hard, can't talk right now." Michael waited 30 minutes. Still no Sarah, no Richard. At 9:30 p.m., he drove home, the Thai food getting cold. Sarah returned at midnight, claiming the project had run late and they'd ordered pizza to the office. "How was your evening?" she asked, seemingly normal. "Fine," Michael replied, not mentioning his office visit. This pattern continued. Sarah claiming office overtime, but never being at the office when Michael occasionally checked. 3 weeks later, Michael made a decision that felt both necessary and wrong. He installed a GPS tracker on Sarah's car. The device, purchased online for $99, was small enough to attach under her rear bumper. Michael felt sick doing it, but the lying had become obvious. The first night revealed everything. Sarah left at 7 p.m., claiming Richard needed help with client presentation materials.
The GPS showed her driving not to TechFlow's office, but to an upscale neighborhood in Scottsdale.
She parked at 1247 Desert Ridge Drive, a luxury home Michael didn't recognize. A Google search revealed the address belonged to Richard Morrison. Michael sat in his living room, staring at the GPS coordinates on his phone. His wife of 7 years was at another man's house, lying about work. For 2 weeks, Michael tracked the pattern. Every overtime session led to Richard's house. Every late project meeting was there. Sometimes Sarah stayed until 2 a.m. Michael's emotions cycled through anger, betrayal, and strange calmness. Part of him had suspected, but confirmation still felt devastating. He needed proof beyond GPS data, something concrete for the inevitable confrontation. Michael hired a private investigator. James, recommended by his divorce lawyer friend Tom. James specialized in adultery cases, knew what evidence would hold up in court. GPS data is good start, James explained during their consultation, but we need photos, documentation of their meetings, evidence of the ongoing relationship. James' surveillance confirmed everything. Photos of Sarah and Richard entering his house together, intimate behavior visible through windows, Sarah's car parked overnight multiple times. Most damaging, James discovered their affair had been ongoing for 10 months, started during a business trip to Las Vegas. Armed with evidence, Michael planned his next move. But first, he researched company policy regarding office affairs. TechFlow's employee handbook was clear. Romantic relationships between employees in supervisory positions and their direct or indirect reports are prohibited and may result in termination. Richard was VP of operations. Sarah reported to the marketing director, who reported to Richard. Clear policy violation. Michael also consulted with employment attorney Lisa Chen about potential workplace sexual harassment claims. If Richard used his position to initiate and maintain this relationship, Lisa explained, it constitutes quid pro quo sexual harassment, especially if Sarah received preferential treatment, promotions, raises, special assignments exclusively managed by Richard.
On a Tuesday evening, Michael decided to end the charade. Sarah announced another late project meeting. "Which project?" Michael asked casually. "Q4 client retention analysis. Richard wants preliminary data by tomorrow." Michael nodded. "Sounds important. What time will you be home?" "Probably midnight again. Sorry, honey." After Sarah left, Michael called James. "Tonight's the night. I want photos of them entering the house together. Timestamp evidence, everything." At 11 p.m., James texted photos. Sarah and Richard walking hand in hand to his front door, kissing on the porch, entering together. Timestamp 8:47 p.m. Michael printed the photos, organized the GPS logs, and prepared for the confrontation. Sarah returned at 1:30 a.m., claiming the meeting ran longer than expected. "How was the client retention analysis?" "Exhausting. Richard's a perfectionist about data formatting." "I'm sure he is." Something in Michael's tone made Sarah look at him carefully. "Everything okay?" "Everything's fine, just tired." Thursday morning, Michael requested meeting with HR Director Janet Williams. He brought printed evidence, photos, GPS logs, company policy violations, timeline of Sarah's suspicious promotions. Janet's face grew serious as she reviewed the materials. "Michael, this is extremely serious. If confirmed, this represents multiple policy violations and potential legal liability for the company." "I understand. I'm not looking to destroy anyone's career, but employees shouldn't abuse their positions for personal relationships." "What outcome are you seeking?" "I want the affair stopped, and I want Richard's supervisory relationship with Sarah terminated. She can transfer departments, or he can, but this arrangement ends." Janet nodded. "We'll investigate immediately. In the meantime, this information remains confidential." 2 days later, Michael received call from HR. Michael, we've concluded our investigation. Richard Morrison has been terminated for policy violations, and Sarah has been reassigned to the customer service department, reporting to a different manager. Her recent promotions and raises are under review. Thank you. There's one more thing. The company is offering you a promotion to senior project manager with 20% salary increase effective immediately. We value employees who bring policy violations to our attention.
That evening, Michael confronted Sarah directly. "Sarah, we need to talk." She was in the kitchen, preparing dinner as if nothing had happened. "Sure, what's up?" Michael placed the surveillance photos on the counter. Sarah's face went white. "Michael, Don't. Please don't lie anymore." Sarah stared at the photos. "How long have you known?" "About a month." "How long has it been going on?" 10 months. Her voice was barely audible. "Why?" "I don't know. It started during the Vegas conference. Richard was charming, successful, exciting. You and I had become routine. So you decided to have an affair with your boss." "It wasn't planned. It just happened." "For 10 months, it just happened for 10 months?" Sarah started crying. "Michael, I'm sorry. I know I've destroyed everything." "Yes, you have. Richard's been fired, by the way, and you've been demoted to customer service." Sarah's tears stopped. "What? How?" "I reported the affair to HR. Company policy prohibits relationships between supervisors and subordinates." "You reported us?" "I reported misconduct. There's a difference." Sarah's expression shifted from remorse to anger. "You destroyed my career to get revenge. I enforced company policy. You destroyed your own career by sleeping with your boss." The argument continued for hours. Sarah packed bags and moved to her sister's house. Divorce papers were filed within the week.
6 months later, Michael had adjusted to single life. The house felt empty, but peaceful. His promotion included a relocation opportunity to the Denver office, which he accepted. Sarah struggled professionally. The customer service role paid 40% less than her marketing position. Richard, fired for cause, had difficulty finding comparable employment. Their affair ended shortly after they both lost their jobs. During divorce proceedings, Michael's attorney used the affair evidence to secure a favorable settlement. Colorado was a no-fault divorce state, but adultery still influenced asset distribution. 1 year after the discovery, Michael received an unexpected LinkedIn message from Richard. "Michael, I know this is awkward, but I wanted to apologize for my unprofessional conduct. The affair was wrong, and I take full responsibility for initiating and maintaining it. I don't expect forgiveness, but I wanted you to know that I recognize the harm I caused." Michael didn't respond immediately. Eventually, he typed back, "Richard, I appreciate the apology. I hope you've learned from this experience." 2 years after discovering the affair, Michael was thriving in Denver. New job, new friends, even dating someone new, Dr. Rachel Martinez, a pediatric nurse. Sarah had moved to Portland, working in customer service for a different company. They rarely communicated except for finalizing divorce paperwork. Michael's main lesson: trust your instincts, document everything, and don't ignore obvious signs. Marriage problems don't justify deception, and workplace affairs have professional consequences beyond personal ones. The GPS tracker, originally purchased to catch a cheating wife, remained in his drawer as a reminder, not of betrayal, but of the importance of truth in relationships. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply insisting on honesty and letting natural consequences follow.